guys, this is the Building Zuberi podcast. We are here today with Julian Owusu, co-founder of Zuberi. He's here today to tell us the story of how he built Zuberi from his little room in London. My name is Amy Hackman. Do stay tuned. I remember COVID was 2019 and I remember being excited because I don't have to go to...
Big man.
It's giving this one.
COVID was 2020.
Hey, 2019.
But it came to Ghana in 2020.
Came to 2019. I remember being excited because I saw it in the news and I was like, oh God, let this thing get here so that...
Would you actually wanted it to come to Ghana?
Yeah, but what were you doing?
I was in London and it's funny, I was working my 9 to 5 in London remotely. That was around February, March. Yeah, February, March is when we went remote. And I was just at home. I was in this small office most of the days because that's where I worked. I had an office in my house. And
but what were you doing?
I was a product manager. So I was doing product management remotely, which was very weird. But yeah, I was just building websites, products, and just working for different companies as a contractor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, were you scared? I mean, everybody's panicking, buying tissues, blah blah blah.
The tissue thing is funny though. People really went to buy the tissue.
I was confused about it because what are you going to use it for?
People
you eat
actually
only one twice a day. What are you going to use?
People thought tissues were gonna run out. That's crazy. Yeah, at one point there was no tissues in the shops in London. It was crazy. No tissues. But yeah, I didn't run for tissue. It was all good.
So what are you doing in your little white room?
Reading. I was reading, working, reading, sleeping, working, reading, sleeping most of the days. But then it's funny because that's where Zuberi started. There was one time when I was watching YouTube and I was watching Joy News. And I think the president had just announced that there was going to be a lockdown. And I think it was going to be on a Friday or Saturday, something like that.
I think it was on a Wednesday.
Oh, it was on a Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I saw this guy and he was wearing a suit and tie. You know when they do those interviews outside? And he said, lockdown is coming, but he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how he's going to buy the things that he needs. He doesn't know how long the lockdown is going to last. At that time, no one knew what a lockdown really was. So he was kind of worried as to how he was going to fund this lockdown. But it was the mere fact that he was wearing a suit and tie that got me thinking, wait, you don't have money. You're going to work every day. I don't know, I thought he worked at a bank or something. But it just got me thinking that he works every day, but only gets paid once.
And then we were going to lockdown.
And we're going in lockdown, so how is he going to get money? Especially if he doesn't have savings. So then the question just came as to how do we allow people to have money on them at all times, right? How can we do that? Yeah, and initially it was just, okay, it's lockdown. How is people gonna have access to their money at all times? So it's funny, it just came from that YouTube video. That little video, it was about 2 minutes long. Then I just started doing research, started reading, looking through microfinance, loan models and stuff like that. And then I came across a Harvard model, a Harvard study on earned wage access. The concept of somebody being able to see how much they're earning by the second, by the hour, and withdrawing that money. And so the study was looking through the pros, the cons, how it works, who's doing it, and is this the future or is this not, because it was quite new. And then I just went and saw there was a company in the UK doing it called WageStream, and then there was another company in the US called Daily Pay. And I just started looking at their model and finding out, okay, cool, is this going to work in Africa? And that's how Zuberi started.
So, what did you do when you found the Harvard research? Because it's very difficult to find things on research works. I'm
good at research on Google. I think I found that paper on page 19 or something. It was far, right? The paper referenced people who had tried to do it before and failed. It also referenced new products, and that's when I saw WageStream and stuff like that. So I realized quickly that the products that they were building in those countries were not going to work in Ghana or other countries in Africa. Like things are different. In Ghana we have mobile money, we have our direct debit system doesn't work. Like there was just so many things that cash, exactly. So I just started getting to work, and I just said at that time I gave myself a week. I said, look, I'm gonna dedicate my week to this, find out as much as possible, and if it's not gonna make sense, I'm not gonna do it. So I called. I knew this videographer who was at a company called OMG Digital here in Ghana.
But I want to ask something. Why did you think that, oh, now I don't think it's working? Yeah, in Ghana it's not a problem. Why didn't you think that? Because if when I'm not saying that I like to help people, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't help them because you don't have money, which I don't have money.
I mean, the possibility of if it did work and what would happen if it worked outweighed it not working. So in my mind, I saw millions of people using it and millions of people having access to their own money anytime. So I thought, okay, cool. If this actually can be done, then I'm onto something big. So yeah, that outweighed the possibility of it not working. Yeah. So yeah, I just got to work. I just got to research. So I made a call to a guy called Richie who worked at a company called OMG Digital. He was a videographer. And I told him I'm looking for an accountant. So I wanted to know the basics of how people get paid in Ghana, how tax works, you know, just sick pay, all of that stuff, all the basic stuff. I didn't know anything about it. And so he gave me a number for a guy called Bennett, who is now obviously with us. And I spoke to Bennett that day, and I've spoken to him every single day since. Every single day since that time in March in 2020 till now, in 2023, I've spoken to him every single day.
And that's your best friend, I guess.
He's my best friend. I'm his best friend. So Bennett was telling me everything. You know how Bennett is. Like he was telling me everything. He was telling me more than I asked him and more than I needed to know. He was sending me so many voice notes. I've got them on my phone. He was sending me pictures even when I never asked for it. But what he was doing, he didn't realize, but what he was doing was he was fueling me to make this thing happen. And for the longest, maybe for like a week or so, that week I never told Bennett why I was asking him to do these things. I was just asking him questions and he was finding the research and coming back to me. And then like near the end of the week I asked him, look, if there was like an app that allowed people to get paid anytime, do you think people will use it in Ghana? He said, yeah bro, yeah, you know, he's like, yes, of course they'll use it, but how can you do that? You know, he didn't, because he didn't understand fintech, he didn't understand how to build a product, none of that stuff, right? He was fully just a finance guy, accountant, auditor. And yeah, we just worked on it every day. We just worked on it every single day. And I was in that room, and Bennett was in Ghana. He was registering the company, he was meeting with people, and he was in Kumasi doing that as well. And I was trying to get him to do things in the crowd. So I think nearly every week.
But were you not scared because Ghanaians, some Ghanaians might like stay into the room, take your money, we have to pay this, we have to pay that, but then they are lying because you're not in Ghana.
People ask me that all the time. People, when I go out,
trust one man.
Exactly. Yeah. People ask me that question. How did I trust the first person or the second person? How do I trust my team? Bennett, I just trusted him. I just had a feeling that I could trust him. You know, and there was little things that he was saying, and you can tell from conversation with someone that, okay, he's being honest. I just trusted him. I don't know. It was just a feeling that I trusted. But yeah, you're right. It's not everybody I could have trusted with that. I was sending him money to go here, do this, do that. He could have easily just run away with it. You know, he didn't know me from anywhere. I called him randomly one day. But he just seemed like an honest person. So I guess I'm lucky or I'm blessed in that sense. So yeah, that's what happened there. Everything started in that room. And so when Bennett was doing all of these things in town, I was still in that room. Until I think Bennett went to speak to a company once. And he went there and he came back and he was like, bro, it was great. They went
What
this, that,
company
and that.
was that?
I think it was a company called Medilab in Kumasi. Yeah, they do like lab work and testing and whatnot, right? Like Lancet. So he went there, came back, and was just explaining, oh, I saw this, I did this, blah, blah, blah. And he just sounded so excited.
Sign up on
Yeah,
site.
we were trying to sign up the company, but we didn't have anything. But we wanted to go there and just like explain it to them, and is this something that they would use? And they were just super excited. We got actually, it's funny, we got Benjamin, right, who now works for us. We got Benjamin to do some posters and designs for us. This is before we had anything. And so he did that, and that's what Benjamin used to go to Medilab.
So all that time you were still in your little white
I
room.
was still in that little room. Yeah, literally, I was still in that room. I was excited though. It made me feel excited that it was happening. And I just thought this the other day. Like literally, it was like a few days ago I just thought this, but we were speaking to a company.
From your white room, aside talking to Bennett and D and all that, what type of planning were you doing? What other planning did you not do? Like,
Yeah. So where the door was like on that side, and I had like a white wall on the right hand side. I had a picture there and a calendar. I took them down. So I had a plain white wall and I had post-it notes. So I like to visualize stuff. So I started writing down every little thing, every note of how I pictured this thing to be. From the colors of the brand, the name, different names. I had random names for the business.
But aside Zuberi, what could have been?
One was by the second. I can't remember how many seconds. I need to check, but it was the number of seconds in a day. I think it was 800 and something.
So the app would have
8,000
been,
or something.
the app would have been 8,000.
It would have been some numbers. Yeah, it was gonna be called
Okay.
some numbers. It was called something pay, but it had the numbers pay. So I was thinking of that type of stuff. Yeah, I can't remember. There was some numbers. I'll have a look for it because I've got the text. And there was a 24/7 pay as well. I was thinking of that as well as a 24/7 pay. I had that one for a while actually. All the names, colors. I was thinking about the team, right? The type of people.
But how did you settle for Zuberi? Why did you settle for Zuberi?
Yeah, so I started thinking a bit more about what I'm doing here and why I'm doing it. And people don't have control of their money, right? So, and it's no fault of their own. It's payroll is run once, right? So they don't have power to control their money. It was the employer who had the power. So it was, okay, cool, how do I give power back to the employee? So power came up over and over again. So I looked at power in like Hebrew and Arabic, in just different languages, and obviously Swahili came up for Africa because I knew Ghana was just going to be the first market. So I needed a name that was going to resonate in other markets. So Swahili, Zuberi, and I think Zuberi is also means strength in Arabic as well. So I thought, okay, great, this is the name. And I also thought about people butchering their name as well, right? So Ghanaians saying Zuberi and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, cool, this is definitely gonna work. Because if they say Zuberi, more people are gonna talk about it. So yeah, that's how I started with the name. At the beginning, it felt weird saying the name, but the more I said it and the more other people said it just stuck. So yeah. I also looked at just the team, the type of people that I wanted on the team, because as I said, I was a contractor, so I was going from company to company, working with different types of teams in different types of companies. And I was seeing a lot of good stuff, and I was seeing a lot of bad stuff, right? In terms of the team dynamics, in terms of the office space, and how the office space and the colors in the office space affected people's minds. Like, I was seeing it. Because when you work your 9 to 5, you're in the same office every day, so you don't actually see how other people are working. But all of a sudden, I got to go to other people's offices and spend a month there, and then go to another contract. And so I wanted to build a team who were empowered, who can literally do things by themselves. And I understand that that's a challenge in Ghana, but that's the words I was writing down. Empowered, go-getters, like self-starters. I was writing all of that stuff down on the paper, on the wall. I was writing down how the office should be. I wanted it to feel like you were coming to build, right? So that word build also was on my wall a lot. It was building the product, building people. Like, I just wanted an atmosphere of building. And you can only have that atmosphere in a colourful, spacious environment that feels like a studio instead of an office. So yeah, I was writing all those things down, and I didn't know how I was going to do it, but it was there, and I didn't realize it, but it was creating like a roadmap of what needed to be done. And I think that's helped me a lot in doing this, because a lot of people say, "Oh, how did you know what to do next? How did you know what to do next?" Because I mapped everything out. So there'll be times when I'll go back into that room, I'll look at the room, I'll look at what's there, and I'll think, okay, cool, I think I need to do this now. And that's just how I was working, So I transferred those things into a nice, long to-do list. All of those thoughts that were on the wall, I took it and put it onto my notes, onto my phone, and I've literally been working to those notes to this day. Yeah, literally, it's a long list on my phone. It's called To-Do List Master. And that's how it works. That room was the birth of the vision, of making the vision reality, because it was in my mind. As soon as I put it onto that post-it note, for me it was real, right? It was real, it was a thing. And here we are today. And we haven't even started. It feels, there was so much on that paper, it still feels like we haven't started. There's a lot of things that we haven't done yet that I want us to do. Besides the product, there's just a lot of things that I want us to do. So this is still day zero. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd say that a little lesson I've learned from you being in your little white room alone is that being alone can be very powerful for a thinking process, for you to do stuff, because you know you're alone and you want to make this work. But then I also want to ask you what you think you got from being alone, from the whole learning process.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was able to dream and have a vision and have no distractions. Nobody can tell me, no one was telling me, oh, this is not gonna work. I literally, when I was in that room, I could dream of what this could be, right? Because I didn't come from a banking background or anything like that. So it was my playground to just see things how I wanted them to be and then go out there and work. I could have easily not been in that room and be writing on a piece of paper and then speaking to people, and then they'd be like, oh no, this can't work, and I wouldn't do it.
So you could say your dreams were reality in that.
Yeah, 100%. I visualized stuff. I was drawing on the wall, I was writing notes and whatnot, and it was giving me time to make it a reality, if that makes sense, or at least start doing research, because research was the first thing I could do. Doing research, but yeah, that room, I think for anyone who's going to start anything, it's like you need time by yourself to think, right? And I really got to think, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Can we still do it? Can we not do it? How is this going to be? What can go wrong? What is going to go wrong here? So I was even thinking about the bad stuff, and it just made me prepared for the journey. Obviously, there's things that have popped up that I haven't been prepared for, but it made me more prepared. Does that make sense? So yeah, that's that white room.
Thank you very much for dreaming in that little white room.
Thank you.
And employing, I'd say 30 Ghanaians.
Thank you.
This has been the end of Building Zuberi podcast. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes.